let's start standing up. And we're going to take our feet about hip width apart. Okay, or maybe slightly wider than hip width apart. And you're going to imagine that you had radars or lasers coming out, coming out of your hips. And then you're going to take your hands and you're going to imagine them as bear claws. So this is an inspired movement, or a movement inspired by a chi-gung practice called bear claws. So we're going to take the fingers and sort of scrape your bear claws across the space in front of you. Soften your knees a little bit. Bring the weight slightly forward towards the fronts of your feet. And keep those laser beams pointing forwards. And so what we're doing here, and you can take these, you can make it quite small. This is quite interesting. You'll feel this quite beautifully on your back, on your shoulder blades, really mobilising your shoulder blades. So this is really nice. Keep the breath flowing. You can go much slower or faster. And you can also take the arms, keeping the pelvis nice and steady. Can you see how I'm trying to not move my pelvis at all? I'm just moving the top part of my body in relation to the bottom. So this is really lovely. And then we could take the legs wider. Once we've done that, we could take the legs wider, and then we could allow the pelvis to move with us. So we come to one side, maybe bend that knee, and then come over this way. And just see if you can get a real beautiful flow going, bringing the weight through onto this leg, and then the weight comes across onto the right leg, pushing away. So you get a sense that the weight is moving from side to side. And of course you could go, maybe taking the legs wider, you could go much lower from side to side. Be careful going very low, just make sure that's okay for your body. You could try coming up from one corner to the other, this is lovely, and then make sure that you give that a go from the other side. And you'll find if you do this practice from beginning to end, from standing very still, as we did at the very beginning here, and then getting bigger, and then maybe getting bigger still, you'll find that's really woken up and mobilised your hips and your shoulders, your inner groin, your ankles, your wrists. Such a lot going on there. So a really, really, really short yoga shorty. Let's do it together again, one more time. So feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart, pelvis stays pretty neutral. So from the side, my knees are slightly bent, not locked, not very bent, slightly bent. And I'm trying to keep my pelvis pretty still. Keeping the breath flowing and really enjoying the movement that is occurring in the torso here. So this stays still and this is moving. So little movements, or I could try big movements and reaching across. And then we can take it bigger, so once we feel that we're ready, we can take it bigger. And again here, we could keep the knees pretty still and the pelvis pretty still, or we could let everything move from side to side a lot more and come more strongly into this big inner thigh stretch. And maybe coming up and down and up and down, and maybe the other side. Slowly, maybe even slower than I'm moving. Really taking your time. Making sure that you're not holding the breath, that you're not squeezing the toes. The toes are nice and relaxed. And then I like to finish it off with just letting the shoulders go, letting the arms release, letting the wrists release. Relaxing off the legs as well. And you're done. Lovely.